Back with my tiny mic in my kitchen. This video, it's a little bit different than my usual stuff, and that is specifically because I want to passionately finish off the year instead of kind of sinking into the soup of just depresso. I think over criticizing everything, nitpicking things almost becomes the way we interact with art after a while. You know, I think constructive criticism is very important in any art, and BL is art, even though a lot of people don't consider it as art. Anything that requires a group of people to come together, pool their resources, bring a group of people that are very different at the things that they do with different skill sets and create something for other people's consumption is art. I think there is this very elitist and serious criticism that we fall into whenever we talk about art, and I think there's some validity to it. I love doing it. I'm a very serious person, but also I think it could be distressing. For this video, I'm gonna talk about something that is very illogical, which is happiness. Happiness is very illogical, and hopefully we're actually watching BLs because they make us happy. Again, this is very subjective. This is dependent upon my emotional state, where I was in my life. And also, while I'm talking about the things that make me happy, I have two things that make me happy, which is some fries and also this winter sangria flavor from Trader Joe's. So grab a beverage, grab some fried food or healthy food, whatever you want. Let's talk about things that made us happy, specifically BLs. Some things that also make me really happy, and that is jewelry. As you know, I am wearing jewelry from Ana Luisa. By this point, you probably know Ana Luisa is an affordable luxury jewelry brand that is located in New York, one of my favorite cities in the world. And they sent me some beautiful pieces, including this heart necklace. I love mixing metals also, so I was very excited that when I got silver, it's like really light, and I hate when silver has that weird like ridge. Not just silver, but like a lot of jewelry have those like weird flat ridges. This kind of sits in a rounded, I don't know, if you wear a lot of jewelry, you probably know what I'm talking about. A gold paper clip necklace, and then I also have their signet ring, and then I also have the pearl drop earrings. I'm really into drop earrings right now, and I've been wanting drop earrings specifically that have pearl, but usually they can be heavy or they can be pretty unaffordable. One of my favorite things about Ana Luisa is that they have really intensely tested their materials, so they really care about their materials. It's like pretty intentional in the way that they're constantly developing new and sustainable materials. If you look on their website, they tell you the story of the materials, which I really like. Instead of just, you know, plainly greenwashing, they actually talk about the materials in a pretty comprehensive way. Like, I have very sensitive skin. I've actually gotten rashes before because I used to get a lot of jewelry when I travel a lot, and one time I broke out to the point that I didn't wear any sort of jewelry. So the fact that you're able to know exactly where the materials come from, and you can actually know that it's like well designed, but also like it's not gonna break you out and cause other weird contact dermatitis or any other stuff. Other things I like about Ana Luisa is they're really cool matchbox. I think it's called matchbox packaging. I don't shop a lot. I feel like intentional shopping is really important. So it says, "I'm not trash, recycle me please," which I really love. So that just the little details kind of makes you think like, oh, this is like intentionally designed from beginning to end. If you're interested in all that, Ana Luisa is having their cyber sale right now. It's really, really good. I'm actually thinking of purchasing a couple of things for a loved one because the holidays are coming. And also I want to get like the specific ring that I looked at and I've been looking for about a year now. Yeah, my link in the bio. Let me know if you have any questions about them. Okay, so now that we've started talking about jewelry that makes us happy, let's talk about the crisis of horribleness that is very, very palpable on the internet. Specifically, I think on Twitter. Maybe this is just what I see on my page. There's a lot of people criticizing every single thing. These days I have been focusing a lot on stuff that I like. I definitely made a video a couple of months ago where I was dispassionately talking about BLs in 2024, and I kind of thought about that video and I still feel deeply about what I said, but there were things that I've forgotten even looking through that definitely gave me feelings of happiness and feeling of joy. For me, happiness looked like I like the vibes of the BLs and I like the world that they're building. I'm savoring it and I don't want to finish it off. Chemistry is fire and I want to see more of them. I think it's also interesting because I'm usually like the person who's like, oh, here are the metrics or the rubrics for why this BL is good or why this show is good. Well, that's, I think, important, and I'm gonna continue to do that because I love that. I love that shit. There is also a time for some nonsense, some passionately talking about the things that just made me happy. Let's talk specifically about the show The Time of Fever. If you don't know, it is a prequel of Unintentional Love Story, which is a show I enjoyed in 2023, but like it was nothing to write home about. Hotae's and Donghui's story like being explored and like how they met as like these people out of circumstances and grew up as children and then eventually like had relationship that felt complicated and then emerged in some way. I actually just rewatched it a couple of days ago and I was like, wow, this show like really did a thing. It just made me so happy. I mean, there was a lot of angstiness in it, so the vibes were good. And I don't know, I think I forgot about it because it's one of those shows not like incredibly like unforgettable, but when you see it, you like it, you feel happy, you feel the angst, all the things they intended, like the creators intended. I also really love that explored abuse in a way that's not like, okay, and then he did everything right and it was all forgiven. I think, what is it, Our Youth? That show is sort of walking on the slack line of that. I don't know how it's gonna resolve itself. I think The Time of the Fever genuinely wrestled with abuse and like what that actually means and being around abuse and like not necessarily having the power to stop it, but still feeling like you should. Like, what does it mean to be like a bystander? But I really enjoyed that. I also love the progression of their relationship changing. Like after the loss Hotae experienced, after his dad passed away, coming home and like really starting to rekindle this relationship that they had as children and now like not adults but like as like grown-ups who are starting to just realize different things and like both of their priorities is a little bit different. It was just like such an interesting story, but also like the coloring was like really well done. The world felt like really like tender and hard, and I really liked Hotae's mom. You could tell like she felt powerless, but she also wanted to support and feel like she wanted to be there in different ways, and like it was just done so well. It just made me happy. And actually, dare I say, it might be better than Unintentional Love Story. I love me pottery based stories, but The Time of the Fever was that girl. I love the original like Lovesick, but something about nostalgia bait being well done hits different. I don't have a ton of memory of the Lovesick friendships. Those friends, I don't really remember them. I don't know. Like, I felt like it wasn't as memorable. They weren't as likable in my opinion, even though like they're not exploring anything new with the Lovesick remake. They're kind of deepening some of the stories. I feel like it's one of those shows that the remake actually did its thing. I just watched episode 13 today. And yo, it's so good. Like, they captured how teenagers are sometimes nonsense. Like, I think sometimes just relationships, your first love is very nonsense. I thought they did such a good job. I also just really like Progress and Almond and how they play Nose and Poon's character. They fit really well together. I think they're like 15 or 16 years old. The story probably rings truer to them than when the original actors from the original show were probably like nearing 18 or something like that. Don't quote me on that. But something about teenagers playing teenage characters just hits different. And I think it's one of those nostalgia baits that baited me. Like, you got me. Please take all my money for the special episode that I probably won't be paying, but like if I had to, then I would probably pay. Yeah, I feel like it went by fast. I think that's like the best. I think when I know I enjoyed a BL, when I felt like it went too fast. Like I felt like the characters are charactering, they're developing, they are getting nonsensical, but also it also makes sense in some ways. I think the ensemble cast is really good. They're so cringy, they're so annoying, they're so like I don't know, it gives me like My School President vibes, and that is a show that I remember last that I enjoy high schoolers being high schoolers, and it's just done really well. Also Friday School or Friday College, whatever, it feels like a real place. I feel like if this was GMM TV, they would probably sell merch but I don't know. Eager to escape from his familiar duties, Chi Xiang is sent to Taiwan for business negotiation, but is immobilized by a sniper attack en route. Okay, are you already on the edge of your seat? Yeah, me too. He persuasively hires the capable assistant Feng Jie to employ Xiao Peng. Basically, he's like a rich, wealthy kid, and then he doesn't want to be doing wealthy kid things, which is go usually work at a vaguely business place. He goes to Taiwan. Someone basically is like trying to take him out. He hires this deaf caretaker. Basically, his caretaker is really good at being a caretaker, and they eventually like start to fall for each other. I mean, it's a BL. I don't know what you thought. He basically has been using him, eventually escaped because he can't hear. And then he finds out, he gets angry at him, and he's like, why would you do that? Like, that's so ableist of you. And also like, why would you use me? And then eventually he's like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm in turmoil. Like, I don't want to be here. I feel like it's a story about like perseverance and like really taking your time with someone and all of these things, right? And it does it really well. But at the end of the day, it's just like a really cute show. Feels very reminiscent of Taiwanese BL circa whatever the year was when Taiwanese BLs were doing so good. Point is, it made me happy. I like the leads chemistry. Some of the side stuff doesn't fucking make any sense. Don't question it too much. That's not what we're here for. It's an interesting story, and like there's such dynamics that are very cute and very BL-esque. Yeah, sometimes that's all you need. It's like, are you happy or not? And in this case, yeah, yes I am. I also got into like another nostalgia within myself by watching Fourever You. It has cool heart, and I really like him. I know there's like a weird hate for a lot of flamboyantly out gay actors in the BL space. It's very strange, very strange. You were watching a fantasy about characters that are supposed to be representing who these people are, and then when they're genuinely out and they're like, I'm queer, I'm gay, a lot of people kind of are like, I don't think we're interested in that. Because I think a lot of BL watchers might be interested in the fantasy more than the actual complex full picture. But you know, that's not what this video is about. I really like Kuhar. He's a very versatile actor, and I think he's also a fun actor to watch. It's nothing deep, just a fun time. Every Thursday, is that when it comes out? Yeah, every Thursday I'm having a good time. It also just like made me miss Wabi Sabi deeply. I loved Wabi Sabi. They were in their Until We Meet Again era. I know a lot of the actors are kind of just being shifted to GMM TV artists because there's a weird circular economy that's going on with BL actors and GL actors. By the way, guys, I started watching Pluto. I told you this. I'm not having a good time. I don't know. Maybe I just need to get into it more. I'm only like on episode 4. No, 3. Yeah, I finished episode 3. But I'm about to watch episode 4, and please tell me it gets better. And I feel like it's going in the weird direction of Not Me when White was like out and about acting like black, and then eventually like he like senses things from the bed. I don't know, like we're going that direction and I'm not loving it. Yeah, I'm having a good time with Fourever You. I think Johan's and the other kid story is nonsense. It doesn't make any fucking sense. I feel like Wabi Sabi makes very standardized, typical BLs that are enjoyable. That's it. That's all we need. And there's not a lot of conflict or like high thing going on Fourever You. There's something with the grandpa that I'm not really sure about. It's not really explained well yet, but it's still going. And I'm having a good time, and I'm tuning in every Thursday, and I'm glad it's happening in December so that my memory doesn't betray me and I'm like, there was nothing good in December. Love is Better the second time around was also really good. I don't know if actually anybody saw it except for me. It is a Japanese show. A business editor, Miyata, asks successful professor Iwanaga to write a column for his magazine. When they meet, Miyata realizes, the other guy was his first love in high school under a different last name. Guys, this was really fun. This is one of my favorite tropes too, the reconnecting after years. My Dating Sim is like one of my favorite shows. It has that trope and they do it really well. And I feel like this show did it really well too. I don't know. I actually forgot that it existed until like a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, oh my god. I also really like that the fresh start, like falling in love for each other, like redeveloping new feelings for each other. I think that's very interesting and very exciting. I used to read fan fiction like a lot. Now I do more pod fiction. That is actually one of my favorite tropes. I go back to it often. There was an amazing tension between the characters. I also saw someone talk about this, but like there was definitely a need to spend more time doing character growth and all that. But again, that's not what we are here for. Did it make me happy? Yes, it did. Yes, it did. One of my favorite happiness dopamine hits happens when I go into the show, someone recommends or like talks about it too much, and I'm like, what's the big deal? Let me just watch one episode. And I do. And then I fall in love with it. And I think that's what happened with Only Boo. And it's nothing remarkable. It is nothing to write home about. And as you know, if you've been here for a while, hi, that is one of my favorite things. When something doesn't feel or seem remarkable, but somehow you are taken aback. You are there for a very long time. There's a lot of people talking about it on Twitter for reasons that are beyond me. It's about Kang, who sells like this curry rice at school, and then there's Moo, who is a grade 12 student who dreams of becoming an idol, and he just like moves into the new town because his mom's like, you are too spoiled, so basically you gotta go. Moo wants to be an idol, so he basically wants to train. He's like a good dancer. He's actually a really good dancer. Like, I also love that someone like chasing like love that seems forbidden, but also chasing something that seems forbidden, like becoming an idol, because his mom's like, I sent you here to learn. Why are you like training to be an idol? So she doesn't know there's that. The tension around the actors was like fine, like, but the story was so good and like very fun that I had fun and I had a really good time. And I started to care about something that I don't really care about, which is like the act of becoming an idol. Like, I'm like, yeah, this is very interesting. Like chasing your dream and stuff is like very universal themes. They did it really, really well. I might rewatch that tonight. So these are the shows that I have to kind of rethink and be like, oh yeah, these are the shows that actually made me happy. Happiness is a very subjective thing, and one of the reasons I didn't talk about like last Twilight, Jack and Joker is because first of all, I talked your ear off about it like in the last 4 or 5 videos I posted. But also, some of these shows that I talked about, they don't have a ton of marketing or branding or visibility behind them, and that really is what drives a lot of people talking about a show. That's why people keep talking about the Heart Killers. I feel like there's definitely a crisis of thinking that everything is bad. There's thousands of BLs that are probably gonna come up in 2025 because it's a pretty profitable place. There's a lot of channels that are kind of shifting and emerging. Yeah, it's pretty profitable. I think we have to also remember why we're here. Escapism for some of us is a way to cope. Yeah, I'm here because I like to be happy. I like a moment of escapism. It's one of those things that I can talk about anyone's ears off while still doing the serious constructive criticism feedback stuff. I think it's also good to leave some space to talk about the things that make us happy and the reason behind why we're here. That's not cringy or weird. I think it's just being here. Anyways, thanks for Ana Luisa for partnering with me and for noticing my little gay channel. Thank you.